It's a beautiful day here at the farm. Spring is in the air and I've decided to get out of the indoor school, put the quintain up outside and do some lance training. This is an oak quintain. I wouldn't describe it necessarily as transportable. It's pretty heavy. It's 4-inch thick piece of oak, nicely shaped. It does the job though, because a quintain has got to absorb a lot of energy from lances. I use some modern equipment. This is a modern bolt, and this is the crossbar that I use as the target. Now, in a lot of quintains, you'll see there is a shield on the end of the quintain which people hit. I don't find that particularly challenging to use because they're quite big, and so therefore for me, to challenge myself, I just aim to hit the crossbar. This is a 4-inch piece of oak, 4x4, and which means it's about the size of a palm of a man's hand. So very roughly, you're trying to hit the palm of a hand at 25 miles an hour with a 12-foot pole. So it is challenging, but most of the time I manage to hit it. And that's good practice because you need to aim that lance quite accurately to do the job properly. This, you'll see, has got 3 holes in it. These holes allow me to adjust the leverage, if you like, of the quintain and put more or less pressure when I hit it. So I typically put it on this one because it's the most gentle. There's biggest leverage here on the target, and most importantly, to make the quintain work is the resistance to the impact. And this is just a bag, canvas bag, hung on a hook. I loop it round a few times because it can come off and can be hit quite rapidly. This just balances the arm, and it means when I hit here that this will be lifted up and swung around. Now you see in movies, things like that, this bag hitting the rider on the back of the head. Complete nonsense. It's actually impossible. It's almost impossible to do. I've tried to have this hit me on the back of the head. But anyway, it acts as a balance really to give some resistance to this. So this particular thing deflects that weight and that gives it some kind of feeling. And then I've just put this bolt on the top in case it all falls over, which it sometimes does. This just keeps it together in one piece. You can nail the quintain into the ground with ground nails to stop it pulling up. I haven't bothered. It doesn't really matter today. It's not particularly windy. So if I do hit it particularly hard, it might fall over, but it tends not to. It tends to deflect this top bit and take the energy out of the lance that way. It's after all what they're all about. This doesn't need to be tight at the top. It's just to stop this from spinning off. And of course, you can run at the quintain from any angle. So I could be running in this direction, so I'd have the arm on this side, or I could spin it round and I could ride from over there or any direction at all. It's quite a flexible piece of training equipment really, and good fun to use. Right, that's the quintain set up. A couple of big things missing, a horse and a lance. So I'll go and get both now. Good boy. See how you are with the quintain then. Good boy. Good boy. Good lad. Well, here's Talos. He's raring to go. Now, we've done a lot of training in the indoor school. When you're inside, you've got the 4 walls that constrains the horse and makes them concentrate more on you. And if something goes wrong, well, it's just going to happen in that arena. When you're outside, you don't have that kind of thing to deal with. You have the landscape around you and his Spanish walk. And you never quite know what's going to happen. You've got all sorts of things that could trigger unexpectedly. Wild animals, aeroplanes, cars, all sorts of things. So you never quite know. And if it goes wrong, it can go very wrong, and there's nothing to stop him for hundreds of yards around. Being outside is more dangerous than being inside, but he's a good boy, he's well trained, and we'll see how he does for the very first time against the quintain outside. You've got to try it and see. Good boy, walk on. Good lad. One of the things that I've noticed is that he doesn't really know where he's supposed to be, so I have to guide him completely. And good boy, steady now. Come on, good boy, come round now. And it just helps to emphasise how well trained Warlord is, because I don't have to put nearly that much effort in to get Warlord in the right place to hit the target. So Talos will one day be very well organised, and he will know where he wants to go and where he should go for me. But at the moment, he's relying entirely on me to push him. And in fact, if I get my balance slightly wrong, he's not going in a straight line. So I have to be super careful about my own balance to try to make sure I train him to go in a straight line, which enables me to then hit with a lance. Of course, this part of training, I am not worried about my own lance skill and lance training, because I'm training him. And if I was in a competition or I was doing this for points or something, I'd be more focused on my own skill set. But for now, what I'm trying to do is ride a straight line past the quintain, good boy, and have him continue in that straight line for me. Good boy. That's better. Good boy. That's much better. No, don't go too close. Good, that was a good one. Good boy. Good boy. As I would have expected, he is much more distracted out here. Just riding past the target in a straight line is a bit of a challenge for him at the moment. But that last run was very good, so he's learning. He's also throwing in lots of his special moves. We've been training Spanish walk, and that's where he lifts his legs up, and he's throwing those in a little bit because he's a bit confused about what he's supposed to do. And this is what training is all about. You do repetitive actions and you get better and better at them. I do not expect a young horse like Talos to be as good as an experienced hand like Warlord. It would be miraculous if he was anywhere near as good as Warlord. He is actually pretty good, and when he runs in a straight line, it's nice and steady and calm, and he goes quite swiftly. I can hit the target very well. And of course the training has all been about him being outside, being distracted, but also concentrating on his job. So for a first time, he's been exemplary. I'm very, very pleased with him. It hasn't been perfect by a long chalk, but it's been very good. And I've got high hopes for him in the future. He's such a positive creature. He's absolutely lovely to ride. Really good partner.